What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Got an Integra update for you. Kind of on to the second stage of this, so I'll do a quick little update. And it's really hot in the garage, so that's why I look like I'm melting. But let's get to the car. So obviously we got the engine out. Roman and Josh came over, helped me pull that out last Saturday. Took the valve cover off because last time I scratched my valve cover a little bit pulling the other motor. So got that bad boy out, got some other stuff apart. But first, let's go over this. So we got the engine and trans out. I ripped the boot on that axle. Found out that bearing on the half shaft is pretty much toast. Completely messed up that axle as well. getting it out because I was done and I thought I could leave the transmission in the car, only take the engine out because that's the only thing I need to swap. And turns out it is a million times harder to try and take only the engine out instead of taking them out as a whole or dropping the transmission off first. So don't ever try and pull the engine by itself. It sucks. But anyways, we did get it all out. Found out a couple things. These three mounts were all aftermarket already. So that's this one, that one, and this one. And then the two front ones here and here were OEM and completely blown out. I don't know why, but people never change these two front ones. And they also don't come in aftermarket kits. So this is an aftermarket kit of 3. And then the kit that I've had for years that's new was also those 3. So I don't know why no one freaking sells these two. But anyways, we got that out. I straightened this out a little bit. I know it still looks really bad, but I was able to push this out a little bit. I think for now I'm just going to try and get this latch in the right spot and then make sure I can get a radiator in here. So this needs to come out. I might try and pull this fender out a little more. I'm not sure if I'll really mess with that yet. But other big issues in the engine bay are this clutch line is totally pinched off right there. I mean, not totally, but you know, that should be coming out of that fitting straight and it's totally bent. So I'm gonna try and find one of these at a junkyard, as well as this brake line set. So this is completely pushed back. The ABS unit's pushed back and it bent all these lines under and crunched them together. I'll put up a picture of what it's supposed to look like, and yeah, totally fricked. So luckily, these lines don't really go too far. They just go to the proportioning valve, master cylinder, and the two front wheels. So that's not really that long. So it should be pretty easy to go steal some off of a junkyard car. The next phase for me is gonna be cleaning and swapping stuff from that motor to the other motor, as well as replacing some stuff. That's the next phase that we're in now. First phase is just kind of getting everything out and apart. So that is done. So the next thing in the engine bay is I'm gonna clean like as much as I can, just kind of get all the gunk off. Maybe try and clean up some of this weird wiring. I don't know, there's a lot of speaker wire on this car for stuff, which is funny. I mean, it works, I guess, but like, yeah, it's interesting. So as long as the car runs and drives, I don't really care about lights right now, luckily. I just need to get it running so I can bring it to autocross and then smog it. And then after that, I'll figure out all the weird electrical issues and everything. But for now, just need to clean the engine bay, get some brake lines that work, that's really important, and get a clutch line that's new. Onto the engine. So I did find a receipt in the glove box from the guy I bought it from. He had a clutch, flywheel, and timing belt job done at the beginning of the year, so his clutch is only about 6 months old. And I took it off. It does look new, a whole bunch of meat on it. Even a lot of the grease is still on there from them installing it. So that's all new, which is great because my other engine does not have a flywheel or a clutch on it. So I'm going to reuse all that, which is awesome. This engine's still seized, which is awesome. And then this sucker over here continues the interesting stuff from the car. So this is supposed to be a bolt hole. As you can see, the threads in there. It's missing a big old chunk of metal. I don't know how someone effed that up so bad. And then that is all like JB weld or something. You can see the top of that bolt hole is cracked, pushed out, and then they JB welded that whole thing. So I don't know what people were thinking or what was going on, but that's pretty nuts. And then obviously I want to clean this because it's really, really fucking dirty, which is pretty normal. But yeah, I want to get this clean, especially because my other engine is fairly clean. I spent a lot of time cleaning it when I was going to sell it. Pretty sure I ruined these axle seals coming out because I was messing with them so much, so I just got some new ones. But yeah, this guy, broken bolt hole. Luckily, there's like 7 other big ass bolts that hold this on, so I really don't care. And to be honest, both of these still thread in, so they'll help a little bit. Entire new clutch setup is awesome. Super stoked about that. Clean, take those parts, and everything else off of here, swap it over. So obviously I got to take off the intake and the harness and all that stuff. Really the only thing I don't have to take off is the distributor. That's about it. Everything else really has to come off and go to that motor. So again, I did clean this up a lot when I went to sell it before, so it's very clean. What I wanted to do was get some stuff done that I don't ever want to touch again. So like rear main seal, I might as well do that. The engine's out. Once I put this engine and that clutch and flywheel and transmission all together, I kind of want to leave them together for a while. The thermostat is bad on this engine. I know that for a fact, so I'm going to replace that. As well as oil pan gasket. It was pretty dirty before I cleaned it, so I'm going to replace that because that is so easy to do on the engine stand. I'll just flip this over 180 degrees and be able to do that gasket super easy. As well as I bought a timing belt kit because, again, that will be super easy to do with the engine out of the car. Speaking of timing belt area, so this mount right here, super solid. This one was loose on that car. It had only one of the two bolts and the bolt was loose. And the mount that went on top of it was freaking upside down. So I was just all wrong. And then the two front mounts were just completely blown out. It's really running on 2 good mounts, pretty much. My car will be running on 5 good mounts. Sweating so much in here. Finish this video out with showing you guys my fun new stash of parts. Check them out. All this is going to go on the car before that engine goes back in. So on top of taking harness, intake manifold, all that shit off of there and putting it on there, I'm also going to install all of this. I got a new starter because I don't know how old the other one is. Don't know if it really worked because the engine was seized. So I just got a new one. This is an aftermarket half shaft that's a little stronger than stock. I've had it for a very long time. It comes with that bracket and the bearing on it. So that's great. These are my engine mounts that I've had also for a very long time. I've had these engine mounts in this half shaft for like 6 years probably. So these are all aftermarket, super beefy, super cool. And then I also went to O'Reilly's and bought the 2 front ones that don't ever come in any of the kits for some reason. They look like that. Also this cool toe strap I've never put on a car. Because these are my front mounts, so that's why I got these 2 front ones in these boxes. Because they look like this on the car, because no one ever replaces them for some reason. I got some heater hoses because one of them did rip when I was taking it off, and I don't want to lose coolant at all. Don't want to risk that. And these hoses are pretty hard to get to with the engine in the car, so I just bought new ones. These are my differential seals, axle seals, whatever you want to call them. The ones where the axle go into the diff. Bought new ones of those. This is my oil pan gasket, which I was really surprised. I was like, what is this tiny box? Well, apparently they just folded that bad boy up. But I read the box and I was like, no way. Oil pan's huge. Spark plugs, obviously. Spark plug wires, obviously. Ignition stuff you always want to replace if you don't know about it. Plus those plugs look really old. Plus if you're tracking a car, ignition stuff is a quick upgrade and reliability thing you want to do. So plugs, plug wires. Here's a thermostat I was talking about. Oil filter. They had a deal for 2. I'm going to need them eventually, so I just bought a little 2-pack. And then we got a exhaust manifold gasket. This is the rear main seal, and this is the intake manifold gasket. This is an intake engine air filter. So we got all of our maintenance shit. I have oil down there somewhere that's new. And we got all of our maintenance stuff, plugs, wires, oil change. And then we got the stuff I need to put the engine back in. So gaskets, rear main that I don't want to get to ever again, timing belt while I have the engine out, stuff to do while I have it out, oil pan gasket, the stuff I fucked up, axle seals, more stuff I don't want to get to ever again, engine mounts I just need to finally use, same with the half shaft. So since that half shaft was a little messed up, I was like, you know what? I broke the axles. I mean, at least I ripped them, and the half shaft was messed up. So I'm putting in my new half shaft, and I have axles coming that I ordered on Amazon that will also be here. So I'll have all new axles and half shaft, which is cool. And that's my radiator I've had for a long time. I think I showed this in the last video. I bought this on sale like years ago and never installed it. Nice big aluminum guy with 2 electric fans. And I never installed it because Hondas don't ever run hot, ever. 114 degrees on the track, and it never even gets halfway. So that's why I never end up putting that radiator in any car. But it came in handy because this car, the radiator is all bent up, and it was an OEM small one anyway. So I'm going to use radiator. Basically, I'm just going to start throwing all my aftermarket parts that I've been saving for almost a full decade. I'm going to finally start throwing them all in the car. The only thing is, I'm not sure if this has to have a JDM radiator in it because it's a JDM front end. It's a great question. If anyone knows, comment below. But I guess I could look at the radiator. Anyways, that's something I got to figure out if that's a JDM radiator or not. But either way, if mine doesn't fit, I'll just get a rig some mounts and make it fit because I want to use it and I need to use it. I'm not going to buy another radiator and also not going to put the AC back on. That's all the stuff. That's the update. Like I said, next steps, clean, swap parts over, put new parts on. That's where we're at. I'm really trying to get this car ready for autocross at the end of the month, which is only like 2-3 weeks away. So that's a long shot for sure. But as long as I get it ready, then I'll take it. But if I get it running, I need to figure out my hood situation. I might just try and bend the metal one back for now and then worry about this later because I got to do stuff with that to get it to fit. I mean, I got to probably do hood pins and bend the latch underneath a little bit and see if it's sturdy enough when it's broken. So I think I might just put that on the ground and stomp on it and try and flatten it out for now. Just for autocross and to get the car running so I can smog it. Found a receipt for a smog for $300 for this car, so that screams dirty smog. But I looked at the ECU. It's a OBD2. I won't bore you non-Integra people with the terminology, but it is the correct ECU for this car. As long as it's stock and not tuned, it's the correct ECU for this car. And I looked up the cat. It's the right cat, so as long as that's not worn out, and as long as there's no weird wiring or something, I should be good to go. Which I wouldn't be surprised if there's weird wiring on this car. But I'm not going to drive it to the track anyways. I'm going to tow it. So if I can't smog it, then I'll just freaking tow it to the track, non-op it at the end of the year. Anyways, I'm rambling, but that's the update. We got everything out thanks to some help from the boys, and I got almost all my parts in. I'm just waiting on coolant and my axles, which will be here next week. Luckily, those are two of the last things to put in anyways. So basically, going to start cleaning everything and putting all these parts that go on the engine, swapping all that over to that engine, and then she'll be ready to swap it back into the car. I'd say I'm 30% of the way done because the easy part is pulling it out. So now I got the hard part ahead. Got to put all this on there, try and film some of it, and then get it all running. So anyways, another good thing is these wheels are real. I took 2 off and looked at the back, and they say Inky on them. They got the part number, all that stuff. So they're real RPF ones. The kid told me they were. I believed him, but you know, you always got to check. Anyways, that's the Integra update. Thanks again for watching another video. Appreciate it. We're moving. We're doing it. We're getting stuff done. It's time to eat dinner. Thanks for watching.
Peace.